There I am. Hey, everybody. It's Kate Richburg. Welcome to Wednesday Beadshop Live. It is September. It is Wednesday, September 3rd. I'm looking for a bracelet to put on. That's why I was kind of distracted. I'm going to put this one on. It's a Danielle Wicks. I'm going to do that. There we are. I needed something. It is Wednesday, right? September 3rd. We're in September. We made it through August, everybody. Hurrah! So this is a fun month. It's my birthday month, which I like to celebrate all month. And we've got some fun things planned for my birthday, including this big wrap bracelet. Stay tuned to your newsletters. Speaking of things that are planned, Janice has put our East Coast gathering. You saw that very briefly. There I am. Sorry, I know it's in the middle of the, whoops, I'm caught on my blouse. It's kind of in the middle of our screen, but the East Coast gathering is on Saturday, October 11th, 2025. Enrollment is live. Some of you have already enrolled, which is so awesome. It's over on the website. It's on the homepage, actually, and it's in the newsletter today. So all of the info about it is there. So you can find that. Questions, email us. You can email Janice. All of that stuff is there for you. Oh, bless Chris's heart. Look what he just did. He just made me some coffee. I've been running around this morning kind of doing different things. And I did it all without coffee. Can you believe it? I know, I can't either. So, anywho, that's that story. So that's what we've got. Today, we're going to work on soft flex floats. Okay. And I'm going to show you about that. This weekend, I also started playing around with my birthday project. Every year, I make myself something for my birthday. Usually it's a piece of jewelry. Sometimes it's a bag. I'm kind of working on some bags too, but I wanted to make a real showstopper of an earring. Not that these aren't showstoppers, but I'll show you. I'm going to work on them on Friday on the live broadcast. Okay. Or I might actually do them on Stitch In. I don't know. Janice and I have something cooked up for Friday already, which I'm just jogging my memory, but maybe I'll do it next week because there's still time. There's still time. So let me see. All right. So let me show you. And it's something that I'll go over, and it's nothing that you haven't seen before, but it's one of my favorite earrings. It's one of Dria's favorite earrings. And you've seen me wear some of hers. Let me put that under the camera and let me add it. Okay. Let me add this here. And oh, I love this, Tina. You saw this at, is one of your museums in Austin, does it have a Frida exhibit right now? That's one of my favorites. I made a necklace with a bird. I cast a bird pendant that I did with it. So I kind of made an homage to that necklace. Oh, I love it. That's one of my favorites. Thanks for sharing. I need to go to a museum soon and see a show, right? I'm missing it. And Janice said that she invited Drea to the East Coast retreat, but she can't take any more Saturdays off. So boo, we won't be able to see her there. But hopefully we'll have her on sometime soon. I need to check in with her. I've been things have been so busy. Haven't you been busy this whole summer. It's been kind of crazy. But let me show you what I've got going on here. This is my messy bead mat. This is a bead mat from way back in the day. This is from Bead Fest, and they gave the instructors, each of the instructors one, and it says eat, sleep, bead, and it's a nice small one. You can see it's kind of a small one here, so it's kind of cool. I love it. So I had it in my things to work with. So before I get to the Soft Flex float, let me just kind of show you this because I'm not really sure. I'll get to it sometime on a live, but I wanted to show you I'm using the monthly mix that's called Silver Screen, which is here. And sorry, you guys, I know my nails are a mess right now, but I've been a little busy, so so forgive me for that. So I've used the Silver Screen mix. I think if you're going to do these earrings with the Silver Screen, I would nab 2 of them just for fun, right? Because, well, depending also on how you use the beads, right? Let me move these over. There's the Silver Screen right there. So I've been doing the dancer earrings. I have one up on the website. It's one that I wear quite a bit. Let me look and see which one it is. Dancer earrings. It is Mambo, in the style of the Mambo earring that I did a while back. This is brick stitch, and I've been playing around with them so they kind of look like that. You can follow the directions. We have a bunch of different ones that I did on there with this kind of brick stitch kind of look. So this is, the base is Silver Screen, the monthly mix, and it's my homage to all really fabulous black and white movies that I love. We're continuing our movie theme. So what I'm going to do here, let me talk a little bit about this, right? And tell you what we've got going on here. So I use Silver Screen, and since my birthday, my birthstone is sapphire for September, I'm playing around. These are actually tanzanite, but I'm playing around with some other colors as well. I grabbed these gem duos, and look at how cool that looks in there. Let me get a little tighter in here so you folks can see it. Let me get the light, turn the light a little bit, and let me pull this down a little bit here. Oh, thanks, Miranda. I think that looks pretty good. So, whoa. Miranda's adjusting, and it over-adjusted. I'm going to use this 3mm. This is Iris, the 3mm matte Iris. I'm going to bring those around the edge like that. I'm also thinking I'm going to try and brick stitch some of these along the bottom. I want that one is a no good one. Let me put that goes in the round file. But this is the Rembrandt coated navy, right? So I'm playing it like this. Then I've got some 15-aughts that I'm going to fill in with. And then I have that rainbow cadet blue or something that I may use. We'll see. Or this is that 4244, that opal, right? And so I want to play around with some blues to bring the sapphire color in. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do it quite yet, but I really love the way that this gem duo looks in here. I'm tempted with a brio, for the center. But I'm also thinking, and these are going to have a couple more rows. I want to do this opal here to bring the white down. So I don't know. I also want to get these kind of these gem duos kind of in here. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. So this is going to come along. I'll do something with this so you can see it. But I wanted to give you some ideas. I think that this silver screen, it's an all 8/0 mix. So it's perfect for this brick stitch earring. I also thought about doing the brick stitch earring in kind of a pebble form, right? Because I love the way that these look all pebbled together like this. But I went ahead and I picked the colors out and did them, separated them in rows, which I also like. So I don't know. I'm not sure kind of where it's going to end up. I do, however, want to use that earring topper that looks like this. This is the one on that snowflake earring. But I think what I might do is this little, maybe I'll use this, or I'll use the 8/0 symbol, and I want to attach it. I want to put this, this guy, the Rembrandt, and do a silver one and hang it from that. I want to incorporate that. So I don't know. We'll see how it's all going to come out. It's still kind of, I don't know, sorting itself out. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. Oh, I'm going to put this Gem Duo bracelet on too. You could also use some of the Gem Duos from the Gem Duo mix that we have here. But it'll be fun. But I'm kind of excited. We'll see. We'll see. I'm really loving the look of adding some kind of a Gem Duo in here. I could do it in the center too, like this, and have kind of a Gem Duo motif in the middle. That might look good. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how this is going to shake out. So I wanted to share that with you and highlight the Silver Screen monthly mix. It's really just a great neutral. I'm really loving it. So that's that. I also wanted to show you two more new things before we get to the float. Well, it's one more new thing, but I wanted to compare it for you. Let me get it here. We put up some new Pro Polish pads have launched. Now, you know that Pro Polish pads are some of my favorites. They're great for polishing metals. And we have them in a new size. This size is, I think it's a 3 by 3.5. Okay, is this one. This older one, the original, is a smaller square. I think it's a 2 by 2. Yeah, 2 by 2. So these are 3.5 by 3. People have been waiting for these, especially in the metalworking world, for forever, right? So we've got these. We've got these new, the big ones in. So those are they. Those are there. All right. Let's get to the float and to the soft flex. This is something that I love making. I love floats. And this is why Friday we've got another, Janice and I were talking about doing another float project, which is why I can't really do the earring because I've got things planned out. But The earring will come. The earring will come. So let me show you here. Let me move this. I need to move things around a little bit. There we go. Here are the new Soft Flex colors. So this lapis one is in my Talking to Bees kit, which is going out this week. It's this lapis color. I'm totally obsessed with it. And I don't know why we haven't carried more Soft Flex colors, because they've had colored Soft Flex for forever. We have carried like the metallic colors. I think we've carried the white, we've carried the black, but color-wise, we haven't carried like some of these brighter colors, which I love. This is the amethyst, turquoise, garnet. This is the antique brass. This is the bone, which would be great for wedding float necklaces. That's the lapis, and this is fluorite. So pretty, right? So I'm going to work. I'm not sure which ones I'm actually going to work with today. We're going to see what develops, right? So let me see. Hopefully I'm not missing any comments. So this is going to be the base of our float. Okay. Now we're going to make this float really adaptable, really kind of a mix and match kind of a thing. So you can wear it with some different stuff. Okay. So here I have these push clasps that we're going to play around with. We also, what we haven't used these in a while, and I love them. They're the layering clasps that have the little lobster on one side and the loop here on the other. These are terrific. And this is the 3-strander right here. And those come in the gold, the silver, in the 3-loop, and the 2-loop. Okay. We also got brand new crimp tubes from Soft Flex in the sterling, the gold filled, and the copper. Okay, so we've got those guys in. So we have a bunch of really great stuff to play with. I also grabbed in these over here. These are our 8mm fire polish and druck beads that we used for the Christmas tree project, but there's so much more to them than just making the little decorations for the Christmas tree. They're really gorgeous, and I think they're a perfect size to play around with the float. Here are the drucks, the round beads right here. Let me zoom out. And then this is the Prairie 8mm, the Vineyard 8mm, which are so nice. This is the Heavy Metals 8mm. Then I grabbed, we got a restock of our semi-precious rounds. This one is the semi-precious mixed strand in 8mm. It has a bunch of really great stuff, including some garnet, some onyx, aventurine, all kinds of strawberry quartz, some lapis. It's a great mixed strand. I love the color, right? And these right here are the Angel Light and the faceted green jade. Liza, great question about the sterling crimp tubes. You know, let me get them. So I don't know why I didn't grab them. Let me grab them here real quick, okay? Because they are a fantastic quality. They are from Soft Flex, and I know it's hard to find really quality crimp tubes, right now, or it has been for a while. Let me grab these. I don't know why I didn't grab them before. Here we go. I'll just grab the silver and the gold. The copper are the same for these guys. And what we like with the crimp tubes is we like the heavy wall of the crimp tube. Okay, so let me open these up so you can see them up close and personal. Okay, now the ones that we used to have back in the day in our brick and mortar, that quality was amazing. These are a great quality. But those that we used to carry, they make crimp tubes now with the walls just slightly thinner. But to be honest, this is some of the best quality I've seen in a while. Okay. And it's just because of the manufacturing, right? It's just different nowadays, right? A lot of the companies, especially the companies that used to make those US findings, are no more, right? A lot of the jewelry manufacturing went out in the early 2000s. So unfortunately, but these guys, look at that. Can you see that wall? You can't. Let me, hang on. Let me try and zoom it in. There we go. Can you see that? You can kind of see the walls in this if I put it down there. They're pretty thick. They're pretty nice and they're seamless. Let me show you the gold filled. Yeah, like the chain companies, you know, we used to be able to, we had 2 or 3 different chain companies back in the day in Providence, Rhode Island. Those are all gone. The tooling, the charm manufacturing, all that, all gone. But there are still a few manufacturers that are producing. So when we can, for things like, we're really fortunate that Softflex is carrying these guys. Some of our sterling findings are pearl clasps. Those are still made the old-fashioned way, right? And we're just lucky that we have those great, what I want to say, relationships, and that those companies are still around, which we're really lucky about. Let me see if I can zoom in. So can you see the walls there? It's a really, really nice quality. So, you know, and we can get them. Let us know. We're selling them right now in packages of 20. They're a little spendy, right? I mean, prices have gone up. They're expensive. But we can get them in larger bulk. We can get them, I think, in packages of 50 for maybe a little bit of a price break. So let us know. Email us if you'd be interested in getting them in a larger bulk size. But we started with these guys here. Okay. So thanks, Liza, for that question. Let's take a look now at how we would go about creating a float. Let me take another bracing sip of coffee here. And yes, Janice, thanks for adding that. We also have the Beadalon crimps that we carry in the vials. Those are excellent. And you can find them there. We've got the assorted colors. We're going to try and bring back some of the larger crimps as well. You know, back in the day, we used to carry a 1 millimeter. We used to carry a 3 millimeter. It would be nice to have those back in. But again, they're just not as available as they used to be. And the quality just isn't as great. So, but what we want is a heavy walled crimp, and that's what these guys are, and that's what those Beadalon crimps are. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good quality. with that multi-pack. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut some soft flecks, right? The thing that I like about doing a float is that you don't have to plan really that much. You just kind of have to let it evolve. Okay, so I'm going to pull out some, I'm really loving this semi-precious. Look at how pretty those are, right? And that, look at that vineyard. I don't know, I was thinking about the heavy metals too. Maybe that's gilding the lily. Or maybe I want, I don't know, maybe it's that. Because look at how pretty that blue, that angel light color is. It's also really beautiful. Let's take a look. With this, I'm going to add in, look at that colorway. Let me get a little tighter in there. I'm going to add in these Miyuki mixes as well, and you're going to see how I play around with those. The Miyuki mixes have a bunch of different beads in them, the different Miyukis. Look at how pretty that looks, and look at how it looks with the bone, the fluorite, and that turquoise. You could also do, look at that bone, the fluorite, and that brass. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is, right? Gorgeous. Love it. So that's this colorway. Let's take a look at a couple of other colorways. Here is that vineyard. Vineyard was made for this. Look, this is, I'm not sure which one this is. This is the 020. I could put this angel light with it. I don't know. That's also kind of pretty, like that. I don't know. There's hardly any wrong answer. Maybe this blue. Oh yeah, look at those two. That's gorgeous. Maybe that's it. Then, of course, we've got this green jade. Let me get this round druck with it and throw in, we could pass that over there. We could put that jade, look at how beautiful, the jade and the blue. Can you see it? There we go. How the jade and the blue looks like that, right? That's gorgeous. You could also throw in this faceted, that heavy metals. That white druck, this is the white one. It's the 10 millimeter or the 8 millimeter druck. You can go to all the check glass beads and sort them, and you'll find them there. This would look really pretty with the bone, right? And you could use something like this with it. Look at how pretty that looks. So this will, I mean, you can play around with all the different colors. I don't know. When I don't know what to do, I clear the palette. All right. So let's clear this up. I like this 10 millimeter size a lot. Okay. So let's just throw that in the mix. Let's see what I want. A semi-press. I mean, that is a semi-press. I want a glass bead, right? I want to use this lapis. So pretty. I don't think that amethyst, it's pretty, but I don't think it's right. But I think that garnet is, right? You know how I like this. This is, you know, Janice is like, oh, I'm not surprised. This is your color palette. Let's use this one. What's this one called? I'm going to check just so I'm calling it by its correct name. This is, if you find it, if you go to the home page and you scroll down, I have the Miyuki multi-bead mixes all together in this is Peacock Garden is what this is. There's also flat iron. Miranda, would you toss flat iron over?
Yeah.
Please. I think I missed it. There we go. Let's take a look. This is the flat iron. I use this in the peyote. Yeah, that's the one I want. I want flat iron. I use that in the freeform peyote I was doing. Look at how pretty that is. Right? I think that's it for now. Let me see. If I need to add something, I will. Okay? Let's just see. But isn't that pretty? Right? So nice. You can also, I grabbed some 10-aught delicas with this. This is the heavy metals mix. If I wanted more things to float around in there. And these are also the heavy metals, but I feel like I really like this one instead of this one. Okay, if that makes sense. There we go. All right. I'm going to mix and match my soft flex. Okay. I'm going to cut one strand of this garnet and one strand of this lapis. Now, the way that I measure for this is I'll just come in. This is the medium. It's the 0.019. So it holds up really nicely in a float. I'll come here. I'll get my soft flex right here. I'll put it around my neck. And I know I'll crimp and stuff. I need a little extra for crimping. So this feels about right because I want my float to lay about right in here. So I've got some extra. Let me give myself just a little bit of extra. And let me measure this for you so you can see what this length is. So I've got, it's 24 inches. Sounds good. Okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut with my wire cutter here. And let me bring this back up. And I'm going to cut that. Okay. There's that one. Let me put the thing back on it. And let me do the same with the lapis. Oh, just look at it. It's so pretty, this color. Like this. And maybe I'll use, this is the antique brass. You know, I'm not sure yet. I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to work with these two. Okay. So what I'm going to do is when a float is all together on the neck, the beads kind of get mixed up just visually. But sometimes with a float, I like to, especially if we're going to make this kind of convertible, right? I kind of like doing the single beads on the float so I can mix and match them, right? So let me cut this. This is the 10mm Angelite. And I need to make a decision on metal, so I'm going to use the gold. Okay. So I'm going to start in the middle. And I'm not going to plan too much. I'm just going to come in, bring this to the center, and I'm going to crimp around it. Okay, that's the basic thing for the float. Let me get my crimping tool. You can crimp them flat, or you can use your crimping tool. I'm going to go ahead and use my crimping tool. This is the little crimping area, this one right here. And then we've got the rounder. I'm going to go in the middle here. That's for the 2 millimeter crimp tube, which is what I've got here. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to flatten it right there around my wire. I'm going to put it in sideways here and close it up, and then give it a little tap, a little hug with the tip of my Xuron crimper. Now, we have some really great skill builders on how to crimp. Again, apologies about my nails, everybody. I know they're a mess. They've been doing a lot of work this weekend, so bear with me. Whoops, that's not, yeah, that was right. That one. And then we turn. I need to turn it to the side. So this one's crimped right in the center. Okay. And I want it to be visually tight. There's a little bit of room right there, but you need a little bit of room when, sorry, the planes are flying over. They're flying super low today too. So apologies for that. The 144th Flight Wing doing maneuvers out of Fresno today. So see here how I put in my crimp, my 10 millimeter, and my other crimp there. Andy has a question. So Andy, this is a good question here. Explaining a little bit about Softflex versus like more traditional beading wire. So Softflex, back in the day when Softflex was first being manufactured, Scott and Mike, the owners of Softflex, Mike has since passed away, which it's sad to think about those times past, but Scott and Mike were, they liked to make jewelry, and they wanted a product that was an alternative to regular beading, like tiger tail, as it's known as. It's very stiff, didn't really have great movement, only really came in one thickness. So Softflex, they improved upon the material, and I have, let me see if it's sitting in here. I might have an old, I don't know if it's in this box, but from way back in the day, I don't know if it's in here. I'll have to look. I bet it's in my other stringing stuff. When Softflex used to have a silver label. I don't know if you folks remember that, but yeah, it's not in this box. But they came in and they demoed it in our store in Palo Alto. It was awesome. And we were hooked. I mean, they were hand selling it, right? It was pretty cool. So the thing about Softflex is that the coating is really nice and flexible, and it's not stiff. With the old school beading wires, the coating would get really brittle, I guess is the word. And so, and the material itself, it was just stiff, right? Your necklaces came out really stiff and not amazing. So I'm going to put these about every 1.5 inches, and I'm not going to worry too much about the spacing. Okay. So I did. So when we were using tiger tail to string with, right, I started using thread. I started using nylon threads because I didn't love the way that that tiger tail hung, right? I didn't love it. It was not great. So it brought me to threads. But when Softflex came down the pike, you could really get a nice drape out of the product. So we started using it, and we started using it for long necklaces, lots of things, even multi-strands, um, and then things like crimp covers and stuff, started to come out, wire guards, all of that kind of fun stuff. So stringing with a nylon coated wire beading cable has really come a long way. Look at how nice this drapes, and look at the color. Now I could use crimp covers here if I wanted to over these crimps. I'm not going to worry about that today because I think the crimp covers actually, I think, start to call out the crimps a little bit more. But I'm good with how this looks. I'm looking for something that has been strung. Let me show you this. This is on Softflex right here. This is an old necklace I did a while back, right? So something like this 3-strander, and I did it with, this actually is a closure from our chainmail chain that we carry, right? So I used that as a 3-strand closure, and I connected it to this toggle clasp. But something like this, the weight of this, the weight that this Softflex has to carry, it's perfect for stringing necklaces like this. Okay, it's really great. Terry, that's an excellent question, and let me show you how that looks. Kinking or bending the Softflex. Once you bend, you really want to make sure that your Softflex doesn't get a kink or a bend in it. Because once that happens, let me just do that with the piece off the bowl. It's very difficult to straighten it out. Okay. So people do knot with the Softflex. I prefer crimping, but some people knot. I know that Sarah and Kristen also knot with it from Softflex, and they should know, pardon me, because they've been working with Softflex for decades, really. So here's the, if I bend it or crimp it, see how it keeps that crimp in there, right? So you want to be very careful to keep it nice and straight as you're working with it. To knot it, I would just make my knot, and I'd go through twice, like so, and see how you can bring it together. That's the double knot right there. And then the single knot is this right here. So you could knot to keep, right, to keep your stones in place. Let me cut this off. Let me re-knot it. Okay. And this really does, it's sturdy, this wire. So knotting it isn't going to harm it structurally, right? I just prefer the look of the crimp. But here's this, because I'm kind of old school. So there's that knot there. Let's put on one of these here. Tighten up that knot, right? It doesn't look bad, honestly. All of these years I've been really into just the crimping, but and see, this single knot will, let me take this off, will kind of make your soft flex, see how it twists, it bends a little bit, right? So that's this one here. You can do the going through the bead. I'm going to do that when I do some smaller ones here. So I'll show you that. Let me finish crimping this one so I can get along to this next one. Okay. But those are all really excellent questions. Again, I'm not worrying too much about this spacing. I just want to get some beads there on here. Because a float, usually I'll do 3 strands, maybe 5. It just depends. Okay. Now this is the 0.019. This is the medium size. It also comes in fine. I use the 0.014 quite a bit when I'm stringing. And then of course the soft touch, the 0.010, when I'm using finer stones, smaller, like semi-precious and stuff with really small holes. The soft touch is excellent for it. Back in the day when we strung a lot of those semi-precious, like sapphires and rubies and stuff, when those were really plentiful with the small ones, right? They work, that works really, really well. So let me come in and crimp this. Margaret has a question about using the nylon jaw pliers. They don't, I mean, you can try it. It doesn't harm it. But see here, just like regular wire, because Softflex has a memory to it. Okay, so if I come in and I try and straighten it out here, the nylon jaw plier doesn't really do much to it, right? It can maybe help you grip it to tighten it a little bit, but it's not really the right tool for this. Okay. And let me see. Yeah, I mean, you can, and Janice is saying she has used the chain nose pliers to straighten it out. You can. Where's that piece? Where did it go? I don't know where it went. I dropped it. Here it is. You can try and, straighten it a bit. But if you're stringing over this and if your bead ends up on the bend, that's okay. It'll be okay, right? If it lives under the bead, that's fine too. So just play around a little bit with it, okay? And I got this. So this has 2, 4, 5. Let me add, I'm going to add another section there. So notice what I'm doing here. I am stringing on the 2 crimp tubes like this. 1. There's the angelite. Doesn't this just look nice? This just looks so classic, right? Look at it with the blue, with that darker blue. I am into sapphire season, friends. My birthstone that I love, sapphire season for sure. So anything blue is a go for me in September. So here's this, right? Like this one. Then I could do another strand of just these, right? I could come in, string them so they're on another float, right? And then I could do a 3rd strand. So it would just be these. It would look terrific, I think. But I think this needs one more up there. Okay, so let me do that. And I'm just going to leave these strung on here for now. And I'm going to move to the garnet colored Softflex with the other fire polish, the 8mm fire polish. There's this. And this and this. Okay. All right. So like this. So now let me move that over. Yes, some of you have already signed up for the East Coast retreat. Very exciting. It's filling up pretty quick. There's 9 spots left. And just as an FYI, everything is included for your projects. Jump over, and it's a great price. Janice and I were talking about the price, but this is kind of a tester to see how it goes. So if you sign up early, you'll only pay a $50 fee, and that includes your materials. If you enroll after, let me look at the dates here. Hold, please, and let me just double check. Early bird pricing is if you sign up before September 15th. It's $50 a person, and it's $75 per person if you enroll after September 15th. So yeah, check your calendars and make sure that you can make that date, because the date is, sales are final for that. Let me just do this. There was a little typo there that I wanted to fix. So now it's fixed. So yeah. So it'll really be fun. Okay. So let me start now with these here. This is the Vineyard strand, 8mm fire polish. I'm just going to take some off. I already cut this, so I'm not gonna crimp it. I'll get some more crimp. I'm not gonna knot it. We would need more if we were knotting. I've got some more crimp tubes right here, so bear with me while I get those out. These are there. Yes. Let me put them in my little dish. Okay. So I'm going to start, if I started in the center here, like this, maybe I'll start on the sides. I'll start with a crimp. Slide a crimp on. And slide I don't know, maybe I think I want more than one. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, that looks all right. What do you think? So let me go ahead and crimp this closed. I'm going to do this kind of at Kate speed now. I'm not going to lay it out quite as much or belabor it quite as much. Let me get in there. Crimp it all the way across. There we go. And turn, crimp it down, and flatten. Now slide that down, get my crimp. I'm not even going to use my tape measure. I'm just going to use my eyes. Do this. Bring that through, bring it down. Turn it. And I'm just going to kind of use this little area right here as my measuring spot. So if that looks good there, then I need to put the other crimp about right here. So I'll grab it with my fingers, put the crimp on. Look how pretty this garnet color is. All right, slide it to about where I want it. Crimp it down. Put three more beads on there. 1, 2, and 3. And this is a mixed strand, so it doesn't really matter, you know, what you're putting on. And I kind of want these to all sit like on top of each other, I think. We'll see. I'm going to get that third strand in there. Come on, there we go. Get that in, crimp it down. And again, just visually tight. It doesn't have to be super physically tight because we want some movement in here. Okay, so here's that side. Let me go over to this side because this was close. This is kind of like the center section. So let me put on a crimp, slide it on down. Crimp it in place. That looks about right there. Turn it. Fold it up. Tighten it down. I'm going to do these, as I say, in stacks of 3. 2 and 3. And the cool thing about these floats is you can do them with any beads, right? I mean, you could kind of go with your bead suit even and see what's happening with it, right? You can just kind of play around. And I like building the multiple strands as I go. Okay, because then I get the full picture of what I've got happening. Okay, so I'm just going to come in. I'm going to, since I've kind of moved those over. I'll come in, I'll crimp that one. And again, don't get too stressed out about it, because if your measuring is a little off, don't worry about it, because it's multiple strands. No one is going to notice. Right? This could not be an easier project. I'm going to slide it up with the plier. I'm going to say it goes right there. And it's a pretty quick project if you don't get too wound up about it, right? It's kind of a pretty fast and easy project, and you can really make it pretty sumptuous with however many strands you use. So here's this. I need 2 more over there. Get that out of the way. I love how these colors are going together. I need one of those. I need, oops, not too many. These down. There we go. And 3 of these. 1, 2, bless you. 3, like that. And that one. Let me just make sure that that is crimped. Yep. And this one is crimped. Right there. And fold it. Get this one down. Crimp. And fold. Sorry, it was a little off. Then Yeah, however these line up, I'm not worried. I'll do one more like right here. So it's more a little further down. I'm going to put two. Sorry, I'm trying to grab one that's, there we go. It's the right one there. Got them mixed up in my tray. There we go. And I'll put 3 of these on. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I agree, Joy. I like this Xeron crimper. It does go into nice tight spaces. I like it. Turn it. Flatten. There we go. Okay. So let's see what I've got here. They're all crimped down, so I don't have any except for, well, that side right there. But yeah, see how that's looking? Right? Isn't that nice? Let me crimp these blue ones here, and then I'll crimp some more red over there. Again, I'm going to go visual, measuring with my eyes. Sometimes that's the best tool, right? Really take a look and measure with your eyes. I do that a lot. I think the more you do it, the more practice you get in with being a little more accurate. And on something like this, where the measurement, if it's off even 1/8 of an inch, it doesn't make any difference. Let me get in there and crimp that. There we go. And this one. And crimp that down. Okay. So where am I with this? That's even. I need 1, 2 more sections of these. Okay. How am I doing on time? Good. Okay, because I want to get this 3rd strand in there and talk about these beads, how they're going to go. Get a crimp. Slide that on. I'll put it about right. I think I was going a little closer even, but I'll go right here. And there are plenty of these beads. I could do another strand like this and another strand like that for sure on this. Let's get that red one on there. It's pretty. Oops. And this. That comes down. Turn it. Come on. Sometimes they don't want to turn. There we go. Okay, and now one more section. Now this is when I start thinking about, like thinking ahead, like to my next strand, right? Once I get close to like finishing this, I kind of put my brain to, well, what's my next steps? So not only am I working now with these two strands, I'm visualizing what's coming down the pike. Okay. So, oh, there's a mosquito in here, Miranda. There's a mosquito that's buzzing around my head. If there's a mosquito within a 500-yard radius, it will bite me. Okay, so here we go. And Terry, you kind of read my mind. I was thinking about adding like a super duo or something to dangle. 100%. Take a look at the different symbols findings we have too. You know, and incorporate something like that in here. It would be great. The sky's the limit, really, with a float necklace, for sure. Right? I like it. So let me show you. Let's lay this out. Let me get rid of that. Just checking the comments there. Okay. So here I have, this is fairly lined up. Okay. So we've got this so far. All right. Let me, there we go. Okay. So now I could think about putting in another strand of these. Why not? You know, to make it look kind of luscious. Maybe they would be 2s instead of 3s. Like that on another strand, right? And maybe another strand of the angel light. And like I said, the more strands you use, the less you really have to worry about measuring. Okay, see how that's looking? This is a good time to take a screenshot right here for you. I should take a screenshot of this too, so I remember, because I'm going to have to finish it. So now let me show you how I'm going to use these small beads as an accent. I mean, it looks great like this, but let's take a look. There's those, the flat iron. And let me pull in, this is the medium soft flex, the antique brass. And I was going to show you how I kind of loop it through. I'll do that too. Let me cut this. Now for this one, I'm going to start in the center again. Let me get a crimp tube. And I'm going to go to the middle or close to the middle. And I'll crimp that down. Okay. Monica, that's a great question. Do necklaces have to be of varying lengths to make them hang properly? I'll show you front view how I'm going to tackle that. And you can decide. There's no really right or wrong answer for that. So I've crimped. Now I'm just going to put a variety of these Miyukis on here. The Miyuki mixes have a bunch of different sizes and shapes of beads. So I'm just going to put them on. And I'm going to do a nice little section. Let's take a look. Let me get rid of these for now. Look at that section in there, like that, right? Just a little section. And I'm going to do these kind of close together. All right, so here's another crimp. Slide it on. You want to be careful when you crimp these because you don't want to break the beads. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to put my poorly manicured thumbnail in between the crimp and the first bead. Okay, right there, so that I don't pop the glass Miyuki bead. It's going to give me a little bit of space, but not too much. Okay, so now I'm just going to come in. Let me get a little tighter in there. There you go. And I think this would be beautiful. Let me see if I can get this really focused. I think this would be gorgeous. Multiple strands of these bead mixes. Wouldn't they? So good. Let's go ahead and put, and I'm going to put these kind of close together. I don't want, since the beads are small, I don't want a lot of air in between my float sections. Again, this is something that you could knot instead of crimping. I'm going to put, there's some 11-aughts in here, so I'm going to start with an 11-aught right next to the crimp, just in case some of the holes of these other ones are too big, and slide over the crimp. I don't think they will, but that's okay. Let me do this one. Let me do this. This one. I want another bugle. Bugle fits on the 0.019 just fine. And then I'm going to put 2 11s on the ends. Okay. So here's that next section. Look at that. Okay. Now we'll crimp it. I am the crimp queen. I love the crimp tubes. I love the way they look. So see here I go. I put my thumbnail on top of that 10 or that 11-aught. Then I flatten it. It gives me just a little bit of room so I don't pop one of these glass seed beads. That's easy to do with this plier. Okay. That would look good. Okay, like this. Let me do one more, and then I'll show you. Yeah, you could, Terry, with the float necklace, you could use the bugles, right, to kind of mimic the soft flex portion. I really want this soft flex to show, you know, it's an integral part of the design, but you could do that too. Right, let me put this. I'm kind of using my thumb to measure, right? I'm grabbing onto that soft flex right there. And my thumb is kind of holding that space. And then I'll crimp this on. Like so. Then I'll start and finish with an 11-aught. Has some really big triangles in here. a big, this looks like a 5-aught, or an E bead as it's known from back in the day. An E bead is a 5, I believe. Then a bugle. The bugles are skinny, so you want to make sure and put some small beads next to them so they don't slide over. Though it's not the end of the world if a bead slides over the bugle. Kind of an interesting, design choice, right? So let me get the crimp. Is that the right size? I had these in my little crimping thing and the sizes got mixed up. So I keep reaching. That's not the right one. So they're kind of mixed up on this little plate. So sorry, I keep reaching for the right one. So here's that. There goes my thumbnail. Here comes my crimping plier. This Softflex, this is the antique brass. This one, I'll hold them up for you. And on the home page right now, I've got everything linked to the different categories. I'll have this up as a project, so you'll be able to get the exact ones. But I'm telling you, just use what you like. Get a faceted fire polish 8mm, get a 10mm, get a mix, and get the Softflexes that you like. This is garnet, that's the brass, that's the lapis. So wild about all of these, really. But is there more of a Kate color palette than this for fall? I don't think so, right? So good. Let me hold this up so you can see how I might layer this up. Now, if these strands were not crimped, I wouldn't be holding them like this, right? I would be putting some tape on the ends so that they would hold together and not fall. Okay, that's what I would do. But since everything is crimped and secure, I'm not worrying about it. Okay, so see how, let me get a little closer to you. Okay, let me do this. So see here how they're all kind of laying together like this. There we go. And it just depends on how you want them to lay. Maybe just a little bit higher. Okay, so those are 3 strands. And can you see how there's the little Miyuki strand right there? Okay. So yeah, doesn't it look, I think it looks terrific, right? And that's 3. I might do 5. I might even do 6, right? 2 of the fire polish, 2 of the angel light, and 2 of the Miyuki. Let me show you door to door what this length is. I'll tell you, but this would include the clasp and everything too. Okay, so on me, I bet it's 19 inches. Yep, it is 18 and a half. That's what this was, door to door. Okay, so let me show you. Sorry, I have the Firewatch app up on my phone because, of course, we're having fires. And they just had an evacuation notice, not for us. It's up in the Sierras, but I like to know what's going on. Can you see how the Miyukis are really falling right into there? I love the mixture of these big beads and a bunch of small beads here. Okay, let me put it down so you can see it. Now, let me show you. Yeah, the seed bead mix, I mean, you don't really think about it that much, but I think that the seed bead mix, let me scoot this out. really adds just a lot of visual texture. Let me go over those colors for you again. Let me get this out of the way. This one is, what's the 27? Oh, look. Let me look. Hold, please. That one is Surf and Sand. This is Surf and Sand right here. So pretty. Love. That Surf and Sand, I think, goes really well. Let me put that there. Let me actually move this over. We're going to palette. That Surf and Sand looks really spectacular with, this is the Prairie mix with that Surf and Sand. And it also looks great with the Angelite, right? And look at the Fluorite. The Fluorite right here. And the bone looks gorgeous. And that, what is it? That's the, trying to move my windows over. That's the antique brass right there. Gorgeous. I love it. Okay. But play around. I've put them all up on the homepage. You can kind of play around with the different colors. This is the Peacock mix, which looks great. And I think it looks great with these Druck beads. And you could use it with that amethyst color. Look at the amethyst and the turquoise. Look at how pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? So let me show you how I would loop the soft flex through here. I want to show you that. And then I want to talk about closures. We're going over just a little bit, but bear with me here because I want to show you. I mean, you need to see how to close it up. So let me get rid of this. Now, for the looping portion, let me just show you. I'm going to do that actually with an Angelite bead. We've done this before back in the day with bridal. When we were doing a ton of bridal at the store, we would do it what we'd call illusion necklaces. And basically what we would use, we'd call it illusion cord. It was kind of a heavier fishing line, so it was clear. And essentially what you do is you loop the soft flex or the illusion cord or whatever it is around. So see that? That's all you do. So I'd come in, look at this color, this brass with this looks great. Right? And just slide it to where you want it to be. And the soft flex becomes part of the design. And I think it's especially effective with the colored soft flex. Let's put that in there. Like so. And the looping, when you loop it, it just stays in place. So look at how nice that looped section looks in here, right? That would be great too. So you don't have to be completely crimp heavy. And I think it looks nice that way, honestly. And you could loop any of these, right? Double check your bead holes, but I think this would look great. And you could, Terry, you 100% could put in some seed beads here in between that kind of float on this strand, right? It would look great. So they'd kind of move around, right? So let me show you. I will crimp this one closed, and I'm going to show you how I want this to sit and how I'm going to crimp it, because I want these to be able to be kind of convertible so I can use them in a variety of ways. Okay. Let me go out here. What's this length? What did I say? I wanted it to be, so I've got to pay attention. Like 10. So this is really it, about right here, because with the clasp and everything. So I'm going to line this up, and this lines up pretty well. Okay. So first and foremost, since I want this to be convertible, I'm going to crimp it onto jump rings. Okay. And the jump rings that I'm going to use, they don't have to be big. They could be any jump ring that you liked. I'm going to use those oval ones, but use anything. Use like soldered. You could also use soldered rings if you wanted to as well. But since those are what's sitting right there, the 6mm soldered would be good. These, what are these? These are soldered. These are matte though. I don't want to use those. I want to use shiny. You could also use some of the Nun Design rings, right? I'm going to use those. That's what I have. Okay. There we go. All right. So I'm going to come in, and I know that that needs to be about 9.5 inches there. But I also need to remember whatever clasp I'm using is also going to add length, right? If I use this one, that's about 3/4 of an inch. This one is about an inch. So I really want the loops to be about right there. Okay, so I'm going to get my 2 ovals. I'm going to close them up really well. So they're closed, 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 so they don't come off. But a convertible necklace like this is kind of fun because you can wear it with a bunch of different strands or just a few strands. So that one's nice and closed. And let me close up this one. Back and forth, check it from all angles to make sure that it's closed. Come on. There we go. Okay. Well, no, that's not quite right. There we go. That's better. All right. So let me get my crimp tube. Is that the right size? It is. I'm going to come down, crimp tube, through my jump ring, back through my crimp tube, slide it up, double check my length. That's about right. Slide it up so I've got a nice size tube. I'm not worrying about putting a wire guard or anything on this. I think this actually looks better without, because the color of the soft flex is coming through. It looks like it's all one thought. Okay. Oh, Janice, thank you for, I forgot that we actually had a handout for this. We have a floating spaces handout. Thank you for reminding me. And yeah, this is a great selling idea. you've got a bunch of your strands, you put them all on jump rings and then put them on layering necklaces. It would look great. Really a fun idea, right? So here's this. And then we're going to come in and we'll do the other side. And then I'll show you how I would connect them either using the push clasp or the layering clasp. And we'll take the measurement off of this side, slide that crimp up, put the loop through, back down through your crimp. That looks about right. Make your loops about the same size. Hold those 2 strands of soft flex flat. So each one of those pieces of soft flex crimps in its own little channel. And cut away your excess. Okay? So now what I have on this side of the clasp, this would go right in there. And to this side, I could attach either another tiny jump ring, or to that jump ring, I'd go ahead and attach that lobster, and that lobster would come in and attach there. Okay? But let's say I wanted to do the push clasp, which I love. I would get jump rings that are a little bit bigger, and I'd attach those bigger jump rings. I'll use those. Okay, and then I'd make sure that they go onto this push clasp, which they do. Okay, so I'd open them up. Now, you could attach a bunch of strands onto this ring, right? It wouldn't have to be one ring. You could put, 2 or 3 strands onto this ring if you wanted, or you could just put the single strand. Doesn't matter. Right? But that goes on. Like that. And then we'll put this one on. And that push clasp could end up anywhere. It could end up in the front or on the back. Doesn't matter. What are you rustling around in? Oh,
4 mil.
The 4 millimeter. I've got more.
Why it's over here, but
Well, I was using it yesterday. I've got more over here too. But see here? Look at how great that looks. Let me scoot this back. Then you could have a charm or whatever sitting from here. But can you see how and it would be fine on 3 of those even. There's plenty of room. Oh, it's a mosquito. Let me see. Come on, get closer. Oh, almost. I almost had it. Yeah, he's fast. So see, look at how nice that is. Then you could put a charm or a tassel or anything that you like from that, right? Wouldn't that look good? I'm trying to see if I've got a little tassel or something over here. I don't. But you get the point, right? You get the idea. I think it would look good. So that's that. That is my epic floataganza. Oh, look at this. Remember when I did this? Here, let me show you. When we did that with the chain and how I did the macrame over the chain, that would be a fun. We could do the macrame because for the talking to bees, I'm doing the macrame over the soft flex. I don't know if that's the right color story, but right, that might be kind of an interesting way to go, right? And you could, Terry, if we use the push clasp, you could use like string, like I think this is what you're asking, a little short section and hook it on there so it would look more like a lariat. I think that could be done for sure. Be a lot of fun. Get a little tighter in here so you can see it. Okay. Well, I hope that gives you a bunch of ideas, my friends. Floats with all of this great soft flex in colors really gives you a lot of variety, right? We, of course, carry all of the the satin silver color and stuff like that, right? But adding some color with your soft flex, I think really makes everything really pop and looks great. You can see in this necklace, I mixed all of the colors here, the brass, the garnet, and the lapis. But you could use all one color, whatever you like, right? So yeah, play around. Get some 8/0 fire or some 8mm fire polish, some 10mm semi-fresh. Go stash diving into your stash. I think it'll be a lot of fun for you to play around with. So that's what I've got. Let me start. I didn't put this up at the beginning, so let me do that. Make sure, my friends, if you have any questions, you can find us at info@beadshop.com, just on the other side of the computer. You can find us all over on socials at beadshop.com. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. I know if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe. Do it now. Just go right now. Hit that subscribe button. I want those subscribers. We're so close to 100,000. So I'm going to keep asking until we hit it. And then I'm going to keep asking after that. Join us on our Facebook group, The Bead Table, our Instagram at beadshop.com. And of course, our Pinterest pages are full of great inspiration. On Friday, I don't know. I'm playing around. Janice and I will figure out which project. We've got a couple of things kind of up in the air that we want to do. So we'll see how that plays out for Friday. So stay tuned to your newsletters. Find our soft flex, all of the new colors, lots of new stuff going on. So we really appreciate you folks being so patient with us while we get all of your orders out and things like that. Because as you know, we are the smallest of small businesses. And without you folks out there supporting us, we here wouldn't be able to do what we love. So thank you so much for that. And I'll see all of you on Friday. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.